basic principles of organic chemistry. From the ancient times, the minerals, plants and animals constitute the major important sources of naturally occurring substances. Means minerals, plants and animals are the major sources of naturally occurring substances. The compounds obtained from minerals, that is from non-living sources, are called inorganic compounds, while the compounds obtained from animals and plants, that is obtained from living sources, are called organic compounds. Study of organic compounds is known as organic chemistry. Actually, it is very difficult to define exactly word to word what is organic chemistry. But in general, we can say that study of organic compound is known as an organic chemistry, where organic compounds were initially defined as compounds which are obtained from living sources like animals and plants. Science of organic chemistry is about 200 years old. Around the year 1780, chemists began to distinguish between organic compounds obtained from plants and animals and inorganic compounds prepared from mineral sources. Organic compounds are essential for sustaining the life on earth. Organic compounds are vital force for sustaining the life on earth. During ancient time, it was believed that there was some vital force within the living beings which was needed for the formation of organic compounds, which was proposed by Berzelius, a Swedish chemist. So during ancient time, it was believed that there was some vital force within the living being which was needed for formation of organic compound. But this notion was rejected in 1828 when Friedrich synthesized an organic compound urea in the laboratory from ammonium cyanate. Ammonium cyanate is an inorganic compound, and this inorganic compounds on heating converted into a urea. So organic compounds is prepared from inorganic source, and therefore this notion which indicate that organic compound is a vital force, or I can say that there was some vital force within the living being which was needed for the synthesis of organic compound, that notion was rejected. Later on, synthesis of acetic acid by Kolbe, methane by Bartlett showed conclusively that organic compounds could be synthesized from inorganic sources in a laboratory. And therefore, nowadays more than 95% organic compounds are prepared in the laboratory or are synthesized by human beings. And I can say that, so that there is no exact definition that organic compound means compound which are obtained from the living being. The basic constituent of all organic compound is fixed, that is a carbon. Actually, there is no exact definition for the organic compound as well as organic chemistry, but I can say that there are two important criteria or conditions to being an organic compound. First, carbon must be present, and second, all other atoms which are present in your organic compound must be covalently bonded with the carbon. So later on it was found that covalent compounds of carbon are generally organic compound, but remember that still in this definition also there are some exceptional cases which are inorganic compound even though it is a covalent compound of carbon. For example, carbon dioxide. So there is no exact definition, but in general we can say that organic compounds are mainly obtained initially from the living sources. So they were considered as a one kind of the compound which are obtained from the living being, as well as This kind of compounds are always contains other element which are capable to make covalent bond with the carbon. The element carbon has the unique property called catenation, due to which it forms covalent bond with other carbon atom. It can link with the other carbon atom with covalent bond. It also forms covalent bond with atoms of other element like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus and halogen. With them also carbon can make covalent bond. So organic compound generally contains carbon as well as these elements as a constituent elements. The resulting compounds are studied under a separate branch of chemistry called organic chemistry. Reason vast number of compounds of carbon are prepared in the laboratory because of unique characteristic of carbon which is known as an catenation. And therefore this type of the all compounds were grouped together and they were known as they are known as an organic compound, and study of such organic compound is known as an organic chemistry. This unit incorporates some basic principles and techniques of analysis required for understanding the organic compound as well as formation of the organic compound and properties of organic compounds. The development of electronic theory of covalent bonding ushered organic chemistry into its modern shape. Development of an electronic theory is helpful to understand the organic compounds more properly, or I can say in a more systematic way. The knowledge of fundamental concepts of molecular structure helps in understanding and predicting the various properties of organic compounds. For that, it is necessary to have knowledge and information of tetravalency of carbon. If you look large number of organic compound, then in all organic compound, carbon is tetravalent. Means carbon always make a 4 bond. You will surprise if you look the electronic configuration of the carbon. Electronic configuration of the carbon indicate that it has a 2 unpaired electron. So carbon should be supposed to be divalent. But here we are talking about tetravalency of carbon, which indicate carbon instead of 2 bond, it makes 4 bond. And that is known as an tetravalency of carbon. So before we start our discussion of organic compound, we have to understand what is tetravalency of carbon and why carbon in case of organic compound is tetravalent. If you look electronic configuration of carbon, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, which we can write 2px1, 2py1. So ideally it has only 2 unpaired electron. So it is supposed to be make 2 bond. But simple organic compound, all of you are familiar about it. That is, I can say methane, CH4, or carbon tetrachloride, CCl4, where carbon makes instead of 2 bond, 4 bond, which indicate that carbon is tetravalent or carbon is capable to make 4 bond, though it has 2 unpaired electron. Why? Then here, instead of only this 2 unpaired electron, this one unpaired electron of, this pair of electron of carbon will break and this electron will enter into this 2pz orbital. So we have in an excited state of carbon electronic configuration like 2s1, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. So instead of 2 unpaired electron, carbon has 4 unpaired electron, which is known as tetravalency of carbon, and carbon is tetravalent. So here the number of electrons in its outermost orbitals are 4. In order to attain stable electronic configuration, which we studied in chemical bonding, carbon atom should either lose 4 electron or gain 4 electron. According to basic principles of chemical bonding, every element when try to make a bond, they try to complete their octet. They try to get nearest inert gas electronic configuration. Now in case of carbon, nearest inert gas is either helium or neon. To attain helium type of electronic configuration, carbon has to lose 4 electrons. Or to get a neon type of electronic configuration, carbon has to gain 4 electrons. So in order to attain stable electronic configuration, that is electronic configuration like a inert gases, or to complete octet, carbon atom should either lose 4 electrons or gain 4 electrons. To achieve this, a very large amount of energy is required, because energy required to lose 4 electrons is also very high, as well as energy required to gain 4 electrons is also very high. So energetically both are forbidden. Energetically both are forbidden means it is very difficult for carbon to lose 4 electrons or to gain 4 electrons. So to achieve this, a very large amount of energy is required. Suppose it lose 4 electrons, then that energy is known as ionization enthalpy. And if it gain 4 electrons, then that energy is known as electron gain enthalpy. And as you studied ionization enthalpy and electron gain enthalpy, second, third are keep on increasing, and in that case large amount of energy is needed to form C4 plus ion or C4 minus ion, which is not possible, not favorable. That much amount of energy never available from any chemical reaction. Consequently, carbon cannot form C4 plus ion or C4 minus ion during the course of any chemical reaction, during the course of formation of any compound. However, the carbon atom share its 4 electron with some element and forms 4 covalent bond. So instead of losing or gaining 4 electron, it has a tendency to share its 4 electron, and by sharing 4 electron, it completes its octet and attain a nearest noble gas type of configuration. Hence, generally, the characteristic of carbon to form 4 covalent bond is called tetravalency of carbon, and that is why in all organic compound, carbon is always tetravalent. Now, as you studied in case of chemical bonding, when any atom share its electron, actually sharing of electron is a overlapping of half-filled orbital. So here carbon, when we can say it share electron with the other atom, we can say it is overlapping its orbital with the neighboring atom and makes a covalent bond, about which you studied already in detail in case of chemical bonding. In short, sharing of electron we have to understand in terms of overlapping of orbital. So if you look electronic configuration of carbon in the ground state, it has a 2 unpaired electron, but as we discussed, it is tetravalent, means it is using all its 4 electron for formation of bond. So I can say that this electron pair of the carbon will break and 1 electron will jump and enter into the 2pz orbital. So carbon has in the excited state, instead of 2 unpaired electron, 4 unpaired electron. Like that in hydrogen, it has a 1s1 electronic configuration, so it has a always 1 unpaired electron. I will try to describe s orbital electron of carbon with dot and p orbital electron of carbon with cross. So in case of carbon, 1 electron is in s orbital, 3 electrons are in p orbital. So here I have put 1 dot and 3 cross with the blue color. Electron of hydrogen I have indicated with a pink color. So I can write this 3 electron of hydrogen which are in s orbital. So I will use again dot, but they are of hydrogen, so I have indicated with the pink color dot. Now, sharing of electron is also indicate overlapping of orbital. And when 2 half-filled orbital overlap, it also makes a covalent bond, about which you studied in chemical bonding. So here I can say that this bond, where electron of hydrogen is also in s orbital, electron of carbon also is in s orbital, will be like this, okay, which is a overlapping of s orbital of carbon, that is 2s, with s orbital of the hydrogen, that is 1s, and by overlapping of 2s orbital, that bond will be formed. But in such case, extent of overlapping will be more, so strength of the bond is more, so bond is stronger. But at the same time, length of the bond is less, so bond will be a shorter. While remaining 3 electrons of carbon are in a p orbital, and p orbital is dumbbelled in shape, and when it overlaps with the 1s orbital of hydrogen, that bond is weaker, because in that case extent of overlapping is relatively less compared to the overlapping of 2s orbital. But at the same time, this bond will be longer in terms of the length, and hence we can say that in case of methane type of simple organic molecule, one bond will be shorter as well as stronger, while remaining 3 bond will be weaker but at the same time longer. In short, all the 4 bonds are not identical in terms of bond energy as well as bond length. But experimental results were surprising. Experimental results indicate that all the 4 bonds in case of methane type of molecules are identical in terms of bond energy as well as bond length. And to explain this thing, we need to understand one concept of hybridization, about which you studied also in chemical bonding, and here we will talk about it again in detail. So experimental result shows that all 4 CH bond in methane are identical. To explain this, we have to use and understand the concept of hybridization. But before we discuss about different types of hybridization in different organic compounds, let's first discuss about the classification of hydrocarbon. As I told you, organic compounds are covalent compound of carbon, and all atoms which are present in your organic compound are covalently bonded with the carbon. Simple compound, if I will take, then that is suppose methanol, then in case of methanol, you have a 2 part. This part is called hydrocarbon, and another part that is known as an functional group, about which you already studied in lower standard. If you remember, functional group is the group of atom which is responsible for chemical properties of organic compound. Classification of organic compound is very systematic. You can classify organic compound based on hydrocarbon also, based on the functional group also. So here, first I will talk about the classification of organic compound based on the hydrocarbon. So, hydrocarbons and classification of hydrocarbons.